before we begin, I just want to mention this is actually a continuation of my coverage of the Alien sequels, so be sure to watch that first. And also, before I get into the Alien prequels, I wanted to quickly mention a few things from the original Alien that always stuck out to me but were never carried over in any other movie, not even my biased fanboy James Cameron favorite Aliens. The atmosphere beam above the eggs.
There's a layer of mist just covering the eggs that reacts when broken.
Something I've always wondered, was this just a feature of the holding area where the eggs were stored? As in, is this technology exclusive to the derelict ship? Or, whenever there's a nest of eggs in an isolated area, does this atmosphere beam just form above them as a sort of tripwire to alert the eggs of intruders? Always wanted to see this come back and elaborated on. The xenomorph isn't a mindless killer. Now, this is another moment like the first Predator. You see glimpses of the monster all throughout the story, and once the final showdown begins, the movie actually lets you live with the monster before its demise. Once the Predator takes off its mask, it's like a whole person there. You understand its personality without any words. When Ripley is in the escape pod with the alien, it does something it never does in any other following sequel or prequel. It does nothing. It was just laying there doing weird stuff like making its inner mouth go in and out. And that to me was always this moment of curiosity. What does the alien do when it assumes there's no threats around? For that little moment, it's like a person, not lunging at Ripley until she provokes it. This is an instance where I'm like, don't add nonsense to the alien's biology to stay fresh, add a new character trait, like just make it do something unexpected. Egg morphing. Now this is a deleted scene from Alien. As Ripley is attempting to escape, she runs across Dallas who has been cocooned, but this isn't the same as how James Cameron retconned it in Aliens, where it's to hold you in place for a facehugger. It's an actual cocoon that turns your insides into an alien egg. I'm guessing the reason it was deleted was because Ripley doesn't know what the eggs looked like, and Dallas is so on the edge of death that all he can say is kill me. So you can't really get across to the audience what's happening with him through exposition, like in Alien Resurrection.
First, everything was normal. The queen laid her eggs, but then she started to change. She added a second cycle cell.
A human reproductive system.
Dallas, what's happening to you? Oh, funny you asked that, Ripley. They're actually cocooning me so my insides are turning into an egg. Who would have thought? It just ain't the setting for that, you know? I would actually like to see this idea come back in the future. And since I'm a James Cameron shill, I'll accept Queen when the aliens have overrun something, egg morphing when the alien is solo. Righto, onto the video. So now comes the Alien vs Predator films. Not a lot of forward thinking with these movies, especially the first one. From what I know, Ridley Scott and James Cameron were developing an Alien 5 together. Cameron would write and Scott would direct. But after the success of Freddy vs Jason, Fox decided to scrap that and rush an Alien vs Predator into development with the turnaround in just under a year. Although the movie has impressive sets, you can feel the cheapness in the alien design. What do I mean by that? Well, it's literally the same molds as the Resurrection xenomorphs. All they did was paint them black. Now, technically, this movie is a prequel to Alien. Therefore, the xenomorph design should be identical to Giga's biomechanical penis monster. But it's the Ripley human hybrid design. The fleshy skin texture, the ridged mouth, the blade tail. I'm chalking this up to laziness since the production was so rushed. We still got the molds, so let's just make more. But make them more black like the original. Now, this isn't to say I hate the Resurrection design. I actually prefer the shape of the head more, but I'm a massive slut for continuity and consistency. And if it is set before all these changes, we gotta go back to the OG design. And speaking of carrying over the same designs, the eggs, face huggers, and chest bursters are all the same, despite having any screen time. Something I do find impressive about this movie's production is the return of the Queen Alien. And this time around, rather than just a hydraulic head with two guys strapped together, it's an actual animatronic puppet from the waist up. So points for that. And after Alien 3's introduction of interspecies mixing, this movie gives us a glimpse at the predalien, a fan question that had to be addressed. What happens when a predator gets a facehugger? The alien will be the same, but it will inherit the predator's mandibles. Speaking of mandibles, let's look at the ones I didn't include in my racist white predator video. As I said in the past, Alien vs Predator Requiem wins a lot of points with me in terms of actual violence and carried over themes from both franchises. You can hear plenty of classic Alien and Predator sound effects and music throughout the movie, which I don't know why the first movie wasn't all over that. But anyway, we got another AvP entry, and the aliens this time around have a proper redesign instead of using the same molds. This time the inspiration has gone back to James Cameron's domeless xenomorph, and I really don't mind the details in the head. The mouth and teeth have this new design arrangement of no cheeks and fangs are bigger. Feel like there isn't much more to say, seeing as you can't even see the things with how dark the movie is. Eggs, face huggers, and chest bursters are the same. They all probably had the least screen time of any other movie, but the star of the film, however, the fully visualized predalien. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with this interpretation. I like the idea of the predalien. I like the idea of this being an immature queen, hinting at first forms aren't the final forms. Honestly, the xenomorph sheds the dome and keeps going. Make it like Dragon Ball Z. Maybe it's not even the final form. I like how it impregnates pregnant women. Just a good old-fashioned fucked up idea, and probably the second and only time in the entire franchise to bring back the unexplainable skull under the dome, assuming this is a Predator skull. And my dislikes? Dreadlocks on an alien? Dumb? How is hair a biological trait? I mean, we have hair. That didn't carry over to the xenomorph. Well, I don't really have that many dislikes. However, the biggest one, can you guess? It's the mandibles. After all that I expressed in my Predator face video, with the predalien, it's like, what even are they anymore? How do they even connect to the head? It's like they're sticking out of its neck. The irony of this being my biggest point in my Predator video was the mandibles are meant to close so the Predator's mouth doesn't go dry, where here the aliens have continuous drool, so they don't even need the Predator mandibles. So why would the genetics carry over? I don't know. But that being said, there is some concept art of the predalien's mouth that I would have preferred much better. The mandibles always gave the Predator like this overbite look, and some of the concept designs perfectly carry that over. But overall, I'm not into the idea of mandibles mean Predator. Would much rather mandibles mean specific function. But anywho, enough with the fan fiction. Let's start ruining some actual lore.
Big things have small beginnings.
So, Prometheus is the weirdest entry in the franchise. It's not so much what it introduces, rather when it introduces. Prometheus set out to be the story that leads to the Nostromo crew discovering the derelict ship on LV-426. But this movie gives you anything but, and more so, nothing from the original, which is fine if it all leads on a clear path to get to the first movie. However, you're not getting that in this movie. The only thing in this movie that resembles anything from the original is of course the ship that was seen on LV-426. When the engineer sits in the chair, it's similar, however now it's half the size. And still don't like that being a guy in a suit. I also don't like this guy being God and he made us. Makes Alien less alien, like the title says. And the only thing that resembles the xenomorph is this mural on the wall. And in terms of a prequel that's meant to get this franchise back on track, that's all you're getting. So instead of eggs, we have these canisters that resemble the egg chamber, that are responsible for things becoming other things, but mostly become anything. It mutates these worms into white cobra snake things, which look cool and are definitely threatening. Their acid blood does something that mutates this other guy into this guy. Originally there was an alternate version where he had an elongated head and limbs that resembled the xenomorph, but not used. David found a Coke bottle in one of the canisters and took out some black goo, stuck in this guy's drink, then he did the dirty with Shaw and made her pregnant with a squid that would have been a belly burster if she didn't have this magical medical pod that can perform any procedure. Technology I doubt would have been in the original Alien, but this squid isn't its own xenomorph, but rather it becomes a giant squid face hugger. In the original script for this movie, however, it was going to have a traditional face hugger jump on the engineer, like a good prequel would. So, something I'm going to admit, I've only seen Prometheus twice, once in the cinema and again a few weeks ago for this video, and my response was identical. Engaged for the first hour, but once the horror begins, i.e. when it starts becoming alien, it just becomes nonsense, a cluster of too many ideas with not enough room to breathe. Then it ends with no answers, no resolution, and the hope that it can be a 4-part reboot franchise. And the only difference in my reaction this time around is the end scene with the Deacon chestburster. Years ago I was like, okay, I wonder what this thing is. Finally something aside from the engineer ship that resembles Alien. Oh, the questions, is this the first queen? How does this turn into the xenomorph? What is next? What does this mean? My reaction to the scene with a 10-year gap in between was just salty. This all meant nothing as the following film does not go back to this planet and you never see the Deacon again. But what's frustrating about this movie is you look it up online and find all these things about what it was originally going to be. Yes, this was going to be LV-426. Yes, this was going to be a normal facehugger. Yes, this was going to be the first alien born. Yes, this was going to be the space jockey in the derelict ship. But then how it all got retconned to be different things that don't quite get to anything recognizable just hurts the brain. But in hindsight, Prometheus was just a warning of how overly bloated and convoluted modern day blockbusters have become. I listened to the commentary tracks for all the deleted scenes, and it's just the people involved saying, these scenes are great for character development and explaining some of the ideas in the film. But the movie just had to keep going and moving along and couldn't stop for dialogue. And with that being said, let's get to the latest entry to date that added to that mess of storytelling. Alrighty, the movie that started the nightmare pursuit of this channel's annoying algorithm hustle, Alien Covenant. Ridley Scott's second prequel that still had no intention of actually being a prequel. But unlike the previous movie, this one gives us what we've been missing since 2007, the original xenomorph, but still not the way it should have been. You'd figure with Ridley Scott returning and delivering us his classic alien that it would have just been identical to Giga's design. But nope, this alien still uses everything that all the sequels established to make the design less Giga. The returning alien once again has this overall fleshy design. It's consistent with all the creatures established in Prometheus, but not alien. Not a single penis in sight, the tubes on the back are now longer and sleeker, and this time around the arms and legs are way more elongated. And since all of it just looks like muscle, then there's like no details. Look at the detailing from the original head versus this one. And it doesn't matter how much more this alien is mostly CGI and can just jump around and do whatever it couldn't in the original, it just looks boring. Actually, it's the protomorph, it's not the xenomorph yet. Well, the whole narrative of this movie would tell you it's the original. David designed the eggs to make it what it is. He just needed a human host. And boom, we got Alien. But even with that, the movie rushes over that part so quickly and then just moves on. There's 2 aliens in this movie. How did the second facehugger get on the ship? How long was the other facehugger on someone's face? Shut up, movie, go fast now. In this movie, the black goo from Prometheus has ravaged the planet. There's these spores that release biodust, specifically goes inside you and a white alien bursts out and grows to full size within a few hours. They're called the neomorph. They have no mouth until CGI tells them to, and that's pretty much it. The eggs look a bit different, the facehuggers look the same, no chest burster this time around, just a skinny CGI stick figure baby alien. And the movie still ends with no connection to the original alien. More questions, more sequel bait. Not a satisfying enough story. But all this nonsense that leads up to the basic first movie, it's no wonder Ridley's prequel series is now in doubt. Like, they are great big budgeted crafted movies, but they just suck as prequels to Alien. They're also too overstuffed with It's like the first hour of both movies are interesting, then once it becomes a horror movie, they become dumb messes. And both movies have this out of nowhere quick explanation of something pivotal. In Prometheus, Idris Elba just runs in and goes, "This is a military base, the engineers are soldiers." And then in Alien Covenant, in one scene, David is like, "I made so many designs out of the black goo and now we have HR Giga Xenomorph." But upon doing all this reflection of the prequels, the only thing I can say now is they shouldn't have been prequels, they shouldn't have been sequels, they should have been something more forbidden. Dare I say it, Prometheus and Alien Covenant would have worked 100% if they were remakes. If Ridley Scott said that Prometheus was an Alien remake, absolutely fine. Don't connect to shit. We're starting again. We're doing it better with better technology. Alien Covenant is just a continuation of Prometheus. Also would have been fine if it was not canon, but you just dare not remake a classic. So ruin it with pretending to be canon. So, I don't know what to expect with this new Alien series as well as the movie. Maybe a long format like TV can make for a fresh form of storytelling with this franchise, but I don't know. Will the Xenomorph design go back to basics? Look actually alien again with that Giga magic? I don't know. All I know is that it's set on Earth and it's still before the first movie, and that's just a massive factor that stops me from being excited. As of now, we know absolutely nothing about this Alien movie that's going to be written and directed by Fede Alvarez. But all I know is I want more Alien. Love this franchise, love the design, but if it's just going to be some dumb basic TV show annoyingly set on Earth that brings in a f***ing CGI deepfake Sigourney Weaver going, oh, I hope this Nostromo job doesn't take too long. No bloody thank you. The only thing that piqued my interest about this movie is that it's Fede Alvarez, and I was very impressed with his work on the Evil Dead remake, and I thought Don't Breathe was enjoyable. Hopefully that means that's gonna go straight back into like deep horror and get gross again, and I feel like he'd be enough of a fan to get the design back on track, but then I have to look at that dog shit Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. So I don't know anymore. It's honestly getting to the point then, rather than hoping for a good new version of something, I would happily just re-watch the original. Like, comment, and share if you like this video. I have something coming out soon called Movie Nights, which is a new series I've been developing, where I've formatted a fun marathon with a running theme, and it features Alien Resurrection. So if you want to hear me discuss more about Alien 3 and Resurrection, look out for Movie Nights coming out soon. And remember, in space, God did it.